A midnight announcement that changes everything tonight. Something unprecedented unfolded in Washington, and it happened quietly, almost in the shadows while most Americans were asleep. Just after 2 a.m., the White House confirmed that President Trump has officially approved the long-rumored $2,000 tariff rebate checks, marking one of the most unexpected economic updates of the year. But what truly stunned everyone was not just the confirmation. It was the dramatic shift in who would benefit first. For the first time since this rebate idea surfaced, low-income seniors have been moved into a brand new priority category. This wasn't leaked beforehand. It wasn't part of earlier drafts. It wasn't even hinted at during public speeches. This update dropped suddenly, almost silently, and it caught millions of people off guard because it reshapes the entire structure of who gets paid and when. According to officials familiar with the internal memo, the Treasury Department issued a late-night directive that places seniors, particularly those relying on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or survivors' benefits, into early access status. That means seniors who have been living month to month struggling to stretch fixed income across rising prices are no longer at the back of the line. They've been moved forward ahead of many working households into what is now considered a top-tier approval lane. Why did this announcement surface so abruptly? Inside sources suggest that the decision was triggered by new economic reports showing a sharp and alarming rise in senior financial hardship. Older Americans have been hit hardest by inflation, with many receiving less than $1,300 a month in benefits. When these findings reached the president, the tone of the rebate discussion shifted instantly. The update was fast-tracked, reviewed, approved, and finalized all before dawn. This midnight confirmation is more than just another financial headline. It signals a major policy shift in how tariff revenues will be redistributed. And for millions of seniors watching carefully for relief, this may be the moment that finally brings hope back into reach. Why seniors were suddenly moved into priority status? What happened behind the scenes that caused seniors to leap from the back of the line to the very front? The answer lies in a series of economic reports that quietly landed on the president's desk over the last 2 weeks, reports that painted a troubling picture of how inflation has been punishing older Americans. According to advisors close to the review process, the data showed something alarming. Seniors receiving less than $1,300 a month from Social Security were now facing one of the sharpest increases in financial stress nationwide. Rent, groceries, utilities, and medication costs had continued rising month after month, while their benefit checks stayed the same. For millions of retirees already living on thin margins, even small price increases pushed them into hardship that couldn't be ignored any longer. This information reshaped the entire conversation around the tariff rebate program. Originally, the $2,000 checks were designed for workers, middle-income families, and Americans directly affected by tariffs on imported goods. Seniors were mentioned only briefly in early drafts, and certainly new priority tiers for Social Security seniors, not as priority recipients. But once the White House reviewed the new figures showing how severe the impact had become on older adults, everything changed. Advisors say President Trump made one point crystal clear. If the government is returning tariff revenue to the American people, the individuals with the least buying power should not be last in line. That simple statement triggered an accelerated review inside the Treasury Department. What followed was a complete reshaping of how eligibility would be scored, evaluated, and processed. Behind closed doors, Treasury analysts began developing a system that ranked Americans based on financial vulnerability, benefit dependency, and income stability. And in that scoring model, seniors scored exceptionally high. Unlike workers with fluctuating paychecks, seniors live on fixed income, meaning rising prices hit them harder and faster. This insight pushed seniors into the priority review lane with verification steps designed to move quickly since most income and identity records already exist within SSA and IRS systems. What was once a rumor turned into policy, and what was once uncertainty became a clear path forward. For millions of seniors, this was the moment the rebate program finally began working for them, not around them. The hidden scoring system that reshaped the entire program. As the rebate program evolved behind closed doors, something significant was being constructed within the Treasury Department, something the public was never supposed to see until it was complete. This was the new eligibility scoring system, a framework designed to determine who should receive the $2,000 tariff rebate checks first, based not simply on income, but on real economic vulnerability. This scoring model evaluated several critical factors: income level, dependency on federal benefits, purchasing power erosion, and stability of monthly income. Each category was designed to identify Americans most affected by rising prices, those who were struggling not because of temporary setbacks, but because of structural financial limitations. And this is where seniors suddenly surge to the top. Unlike working individuals whose earnings might fluctuate or adjust with market conditions, seniors living on Social Security receive fixed payments that do not rise with inflation in real time. Their cost of living increases, but their income does not move fast enough to match the pressure. That reality gave them one of the highest vulnerability scores in the entire system. Treasury analysts quickly realized that many retirees, especially those receiving SSI, SSDI, or less than $1,300 per month, were being hit harder than households earning twice or even 3 times as much. Their limited mobility, fixed benefit structure, and dependency on federal programs made them especially exposed to rising prices. The model flagged them not just as eligible, but as high priority. That is why in the final hours before the announcement, seniors were moved upward into the top approval tier. But here's the part most people don't know. The new scoring system didn't just rank seniors highly. It made them easier to verify because their income and benefit history already exist inside SSA and IRS databases. Their eligibility requires fewer steps, fewer checks, and fewer delays. Treasury officials refer to this group as fast verify households, meaning their approvals can be processed almost instantly once the system is activated. This update wasn't political. It wasn't symbolic. It was a data-driven shift that emerged from a deeper understanding of who was truly being left behind. And as income limits and Social Security eligibility, the scoring structure took shape, it became clear that seniors would no longer be an afterthought. They would be at the center of the entire rebate rollout. The tier system, how seniors advanced to the front of the line. Once the new scoring framework was finalized, the Treasury Department reorganized the entire payment distribution system into 3 major tiers. This structure determines who gets reviewed first, who gets approved faster, and who receives the $2,000 rebate checks before the rest of the country. And in this reshuffling, seniors didn't just join the list. They were elevated into some of the highest priority lanes. Originally, Tier 1 was designed for middle-income workers earning between $30,000 and $75,000 per year. These were the groups expected to experience the most direct impact from tariff-related price increases. But after the scoring overhaul, a new population was quietly added. Seniors receiving below the national median Social Security payment, generally under $1,300 per month. For these individuals, their vulnerability score increased so significantly that they surpassed millions of working households who were once ahead of them. Under this new model, seniors with annual income under about $30,000 are grouped into Tier 1, meaning they are part of the earliest review wave. This is a dramatic shift. It means seniors who rely on Social Security, SSI, or SSDI are no longer waiting behind millions of workers. They are now among the first in line for approval. The Treasury memo also introduced a new metric called the benefit stability factor. This category measures whether an individual's income remains constant even as living costs rise. Seniors scored extremely high because their benefits are fixed, predictable, and do not adjust month to month. That made them more financially exposed compared to households whose income may rise with overtime, job changes, or market fluctuations. Meanwhile, Tier 2, which originally included many workers earning $40,000 to $90,000, is now partially pushed back because seniors moved upward. Some families in this tier will likely face longer processing times than initially expected. Tier 3 includes higher income households, or people with complicated tax filings that require manual IRS review. Seniors, importantly, are not in this tier at all. This restructuring demonstrates one undeniable truth. The rebate program is now engineered to prioritize America's most vulnerable adults. Seniors aren't just included. They have been strategically repositioned to receive relief sooner than millions of others. The new senior group nobody expected to be included. Just when everyone thought the updated eligibility list was complete, another twist emerged inside the final Treasury memo. A change that wasn't in early drafts, wasn't mentioned in Trump's statement, and wasn't part of any rumor circulating online. This was the sudden addition of a completely new senior category, fixed-income seniors receiving less than $2,100 per month. This group did not appear anywhere in the original outline of the rebate program. It wasn't acknowledged in the press briefings, and it wasn't leaked by any insiders during the previous week. Yet, in the final hours before the official announcement, this category was quietly inserted into the same high-priority tier as low-income seniors. Why? Because new economic data revealed something deeply concerning. Seniors who receive less than $2,100 each month, especially those living alone, are considered among the most financially vulnerable groups in the country. Their cost of living has gone. How rebates affect your Social Security up dramatically in the last year, but their income hasn't. Many are forced to choose between medication, rent, and basic groceries. When the Treasury reviewed fresh reports showing just how difficult things had become for these older Americans, the decision was made to add them to the highest priority lane without hesitation. This adjustment changes the landscape of the entire rebate system. It means that seniors at the very bottom and those in the low to mid-fixed income brackets will be processed far earlier than originally planned. They will bypass layers of verification that would normally delay payments for many working households. Officials emphasized that this wasn't a political move. It was a response to real data showing real hardship. These seniors represent a population with extremely limited financial flexibility. Even a small spike in food or utility prices can create immediate, overwhelming pressure. And because their benefit records are already stored within federal systems, they can be verified and approved quickly. For millions of older Americans struggling through inflation, this last-minute update could mean the difference between waiting months for relief or receiving approval in the very first wave. It was a quiet change, but one with massive impact. Why most seniors won't need to apply. Automatic verification explained. One of the biggest concerns seniors had after hearing about the $2,000 rebate checks was whether they would need to fill out applications, submit new documents, or update complicated tax forms. But the updated Treasury memo brings unexpected good news. Most seniors will not need to apply for anything at all. The entire verification process is designed to run automatically behind the scenes using data the federal government already has on file. Here's how it works. The Social Security Administration and the IRS already maintain detailed income and benefit records for individuals receiving Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or survivor's benefits. Because these systems store verified income history, federal identification, and payment routing information, the Treasury can determine eligibility without requiring additional paperwork. This makes seniors part of what officials call the fast verify households, meaning their approval can be processed significantly faster than almost any other group. For example, seniors who filed zero income tax returns in the last 2 years, a group that often experienced delays in older stimulus programs, will now be automatically processed. Instead of holding these cases for manual review, Treasury is using SSA benefit data to bypass the bottleneck entirely. Even those who rely solely on federal benefits without any additional income from work or pensions are considered direct impact beneficiaries. Their records are clean, straightforward, and fully stored in government systems that allows the eligibility engine to confirm their identity, income level, and benefit status in seconds. Only a small number of seniors may receive requests for additional verification. Usually, those with outdated addresses, mismatched records, or incomplete direct deposit information. But for the overwhelming majority, the system is designed to move them forward without delays. This automatic verification model is one of the biggest reasons seniors were able to move into the early approval lane. It doesn't just prioritize them, it streamlines the entire process so their payments can be approved and scheduled far more efficiently than those of working households who may have multiple income sources, tax filings, or employment records that need extra review. For seniors who have spent months worried about rising costs and shrinking portals, deadlines, and protecting Social Security budgets, this simplified pathway offers something many haven't felt in a long time. Relief without complications. When will seniors receive payments? The approval timeline finally makes sense. With seniors now elevated into the top priority tiers, the next big question becomes unavoidable. When will the money actually arrive? While official dates have not yet been publicly released, the internal structure of the program gives us a clear look at how the timeline is expected to unfold and why seniors may receive updates earlier than millions of working households. The first step begins once Treasury finalizes the routing list for Tier 1. Because low-income seniors, fixed-income seniors under $2,100 per month, and those relying on Social Security or SSI have been moved into this category, they will be among the earliest files pushed into the IRS verification channel. For these individuals, verification is faster because nearly every piece of required information, income, identity, benefit status, even direct deposit rowing is already stored in federal systems. Once the IRS clears these files, eligibility confirmations will flow into the internal payment system. This is the stage where seniors may begin seeing alerts inside their SSA or IRS online portals, letting them know their status is moving forward. These alerts may involve identity checks, address updates, or confirmations of how they wish to receive their payment. Treasury officials stress that responding quickly to these prompts helps keep seniors in the priority lane. As approval waves progress, early Tier 1 seniors, especially those with the highest vulnerability scores, could be among the first Americans to receive payment updates. This means seniors may have their status confirmed before many working families even enter the review queue. Meanwhile, Tier 2 households may experience delays because the system is now rebalancing itself to move seniors forward. And Tier 3, which includes high-income earners and complicated tax cases, will come last. While the government has not released an exact timeline, analysts believe the first approval wave for seniors could begin shortly after the internal systems finish syncing, since the structural groundwork is already complete. One thing is now undeniable. Seniors are no longer waiting at the back. Instead, they are positioned to move through the verification process ahead of millions of Americans. A dramatic shift that reflects the seriousness of their financial needs. Important alerts seniors must watch for. Avoid delays in your $2,000 rebate. As the system begins moving seniors into the early review lane, one critical factor will determine how quickly your $2,000 rebate is approved: your responsiveness to IRS and SSA alerts. These alerts are not random notifications. They are part of Treasury's rapid verification protocol, and ignoring them could result in avoidable delays. Over the coming days and weeks, seniors may see several types of messages in their online portals. These may include identity confirmation prompts, requests to update or verify direct deposit information, or simple alerts asking to confirm a mailing address. Treasury officials stress that responding quickly to these prompts helps prevent your file from being kicked out of the fast-track lane and into manual review. For example, something as small as an outdated bank account or an address that hasn't been updated since your last SSA filing could stop the payment from being processed automatically. The system is designed to approve seniors swiftly, but only if the information on file matches perfectly. Any mismatch forces the IRS to pause the process and request clarification. Another frequent concern is whether the rebate will affect Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or other benefits. The Treasury memo addresses this very clearly. The $2,000 rebate is not counted as income, meaning it will not reduce, replace, or interfere with your monthly benefit checks. It is categorized as a separate rebate payment similar to prior relief programs and does not impact eligibility for ongoing benefits. Seniors should also be aware of potential scams. The government will not call, text, or email asking you for payment information. All legitimate alerts will appear inside your official IRS or SSA portal. If you receive a suspicious message telling you to apply or confirm payment details through a link, do not click it. Ultimately, staying alert and keeping your information updated ensures your rebate moves through the system efficiently. The program is structured to help seniors first, but only if the verification steps are completed promptly and accurately. Why Congress cannot delay this program? The legal path is already open. One of the biggest concerns seniors often express is this: what if Congress blocks the payments? What if political disagreements slow everything down? Under normal circumstances, those fears would be valid. But the $2,000 tariff rebate is fundamentally different from previous stimulus programs. And that difference is what protects seniors from delays. Unlike traditional stimulus checks, which require Congress to pass new legislation, this rebate does not need congressional approval. The legal authority for distributing these payments already exists under current tariff collection laws. The money comes from tariff revenue, funds generated by taxes placed on imported goods, not from new federal spending. This means Treasury has the power to release the payments once the eligibility system is finalized. And that system is now fully structured. Political debates may continue on television. Lawmakers may argue about the fairness or structure of the program, but none of that changes the mechanics already moving behind the scenes. The machinery is active, the scoring system is complete, and seniors are already being positioned within the routing queues. There are, however, a few administrative steps that must be completed before money can land in bank accounts. The IRS must verify identity records. Treasury must finalize the distribution order for each tier. The Social Security Administration must confirm direct deposit channels for seniors using existing benefit accounts. While these steps may create small delays, they do not alter whether someone is eligible. They only affect timing. This is why seniors have a major advantage over most other groups. Because your benefit data is already stored, verified, and continuously updated, you are part of the fast Verify households. You do not need to file new paperwork, submit applications, or wait for Congress to pass anything. The system can push your file into early approval without needing additional input from you. This unique structure gives seniors something incredibly rare in federal programs, a clear pathway that is insulated from political disruption. The rebates are not theoretical. They are operational. And for seniors who have been carrying the heavy burden of inflation, this stability in the process may be the most reassuring news of